Well, I'm a hell of a lot more optimistic this week than last week for a number of reasons. Went over a lot of the details about the Eagles being the Redskins in that video I made earlier this week. And sitting back and reflecting on a few things before this game with the Chargers on Sunday, I gotta say I'm reasonably pleased, as well as still reasonably concerned. It's still not to the point where I'm just going to get overly worried either which way, because this is Chip Kelly's first year in charge of the Eagles. It's going to take a year or two or three to him get the guys he wants there, to get the guys acclimated to the system he wants to run and everything like that. But to see such a tremendous step in progress in just week one comparatively to this group of guys that was on this team last year, for the most part, aside of rookies and free agents that were picked up, which is a sparse few in the totality of things, I gotta be just nothing but impressed. I don't see how Philadelphia Eagles fans can't be impressed right now. And I'm also kind of grateful that we didn't go after Gus Bradley, because yikes, his first week performance against as the Jacksonville Jaguars coach, playing against Andy Reid's newly coached Kansas City Chiefs, didn't go too well. And it looks like Jeff Lurie might have made the correct decision as far as picking the new coach for this team. And I'm looking like I'm clearly wrong there for thinking Gus Bradley should have been the coach here, but we'll see how things pan out. It's still just week one. As for this week, the Chargers are a team that I just don't even see as a possible threat. I know you're going to be like, well, look at all the points they put up against the Texans on Monday night. They almost beat them and took a miraculous comeback from the Texans, and I'm just like, that's one of the games where I just see the score as a fluke. The Chargers had no business being that close. I mean, if you just look at the box score, and I know maybe that a number of other things are contributing to this other than just passing and rushing statistics, but Phillip Rivers didn't even pass for 200 yards. The running backs I don't even remember off the top of my head. I think the top one had 43 rushing yards. And it's like, I'm sorry, I can't take a team like that puts up such menial numbers. I don't care if the Texans have the greatest defense in the history of the planet. You got to put up better numbers than that. But I guess the score is the only thing that matters, and I should be, somewhat fearing of that they almost beat a perennial playoff contender now in the Texans. I don't know. There's a reason why this is a 9-point favorite for the Eagles. First game at home. And the only solace, the only good thing that, and San Diego fans may be glad to hear this, you Charger fans might actually be happy to hear this. The last four teams that went on to win the Super Bowl played the first home game in Philadelphia. In other words, Baltimore played the home opener last year. The Giants played here. The Green Bay Packers played the first home game here. You get what I'm saying? The last four Super Bowl winners have played their first home opener for the Philadelphia Eagles. So, could this be 5 in a row? I don't think so, but if the Chargers win, I'll probably consider that. But as for the game itself, I want to see Chip Kelly make a statement that he finished to make in this week one, or it could be that he tried to and his style of play just gassed his players out. We'll get to that in a second. When you're up 33-7 against the team that is supposed to be the namesake of the division in the Washington Redskins last week, you get up 33-7 on them. I don't know how you can't just put your foot on their throat and just completely suck the life out of them. Put up a 50 spot on them. Andy Reid did that before to the Redskins on Monday Night Football, and it put a stamp on that season for him. And it seemed like coming out of the half that the Eagles were either spent or they just went into a conservative offense and defense. Billy Davis did look like he was running a lot of conservative coverage packages. And you got to wonder if that was planned, if Chip said, all right, look, we got the lead. I seriously doubt we're going to blow this. If we just put on enough pressure, keep running the ball to kill the clock, stuff like that, we'll be fine. But it really did not look like they didn't score a single point in the second half, first of all. It really did not look like they put that concerted effort that they put into the first half. And you got to wonder why that is. Was Shady McCoy tired? I mean, you're looking at a guy who had over 30 rushing attempts that game. Stuff like that does wear on him. I know in the video I made previous this week, I said, you know, go ahead and rush Shady 30 plus times a game. Let's see how, you know, he does with that. Just go ahead and keep doing it till, you know, whatever. And I don't know. Maybe that did take a toll on him. Maybe his performance did suffer from that. Maybe the offense and everyone just wasn't clicking as well, because once you get, you know, into 30, 40, 50 plays into the game, people are just flat out getting tired and worked. And therefore, the offense of the Redskins that didn't spend much time on the field in the first half got their shit together. So it could be any of a number of things. That's why I want to see a full-fledged effort from this team from beginning to end, a full 60 minutes of just intensity, not 30 minutes of just ass-kicking intensity and 30 minutes of we're just going to go on cruise control and we should win this game even if we do that. I'm sorry, that's not good enough for me. When you have a weak team like this is a team where it may sound like kind of like bullying, like, oh, just go out, put an all-out effort against a team like this. This is a team where if you want to motivate your team by putting up a big number, because big numbers are motivation. Big numbers are what make people like, oh, we're capable of doing this, and we can do this against a good team as well. Put up those big numbers against a weak team like San Diego. Put up a 50 spot on them. Put up over 200 rushing yards on them from Shady. Try to give Vic, you know, well, get into that. I was going to say give Vic the chance to get over 300 yards. Limiting him, Vic, in week 1 against the Redskins to 25 passing attempts, I thought was perfect. You had Andy Reid in here last year giving him sometimes 50-plus passing plays in a game. Now, granted, a lot of times Eagles were playing from behind, so of course you're going to do a more passing offensive set of plays than, you know, sticking with your running backs, but still, Michael Vick is a guy where you can't have him dropping back 50-plus times in a game. That's where you get the guy who's trying to buy an extra second into the pocket, taking a sack, fumbling the ball, throwing under pressure more often. Keep him at that 25 times. Keep him using those play action fades over to the left, that shit that was running perfectly in the first week. So, I like how everything went in week 1. I just wish that there was more out of this offense than in the second half of the game. Again, the Chargers, I mean, without saying, my prediction is obviously the Eagles are going to win this game, and I'm predicting at least a 25-point rout in this one. But who knows? Maybe those quitters that were on the field last year will show up, but you know what? That's just the pessimistic Philadelphia fan in me saying that. I'm a believer in this team after week 1. I'm a believer in that they're not going to shit the fucking bed. I'm not going to say, oh, I believe this team's going to go to the Super Bowl and win, or that I even believe they're going to go to the playoffs at this point. I believe it's now a possibility, whereas before I was like, there's no chance they're making the playoffs. I think it's possible now. The way they performed, and if this system holds up, and if Chip Kelly figures out a way to scheme against people once they have all those weeks of tape to research, when offensive and defensive coordinators and head coaches are looking back on how he coaches a pro game, once you get to that week 3 and 4, if Chip is still running a good game, I'll be damn impressed. But let's stick with week 2 for now. Have the Chargers losing at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia by 21 points. As for a final score, I don't know. Who cares? As for last week, I went 11-5 with my predictions. Solid week, a few upsets. I just want to go over the games I got wrong, not so much the games I got right, and just, you know, give credit where credit was due in my predictions that went wrong. I picked Atlanta over New Orleans. New Orleans very surprisingly played just neck to neck with Atlanta and just really went all out. Very impressed with how New Orleans played, and I think they are an absolute player to win that division this year. I have them in the NFC Championship game against Atlanta, so you know it'll be a battle of NFC South teams playing for the Super Bowl, which would be interesting. I always like when two division teams meet off in the conference championship. But anyways, very impressed. Drew Brees looks like he's motivated more than ever to win in that post-Bounty Gate era now with all the coach and everyone back. Tampa Bay losing to the Jets. Geno Smith proved me wrong. He played 100 times better than I thought he would. Now, granted, I'm not saying he looked like Joe Montana on the field or anything like that. He looked way better than I gave him credit for. And to that, I say, hey, he actually did look like a solid starting quarterback. Do I see great things for him right now? Not so much. But as far as him being a starting quarterback, he looked like a guy that fit the shoes rather well. So I'm not going to bag on the Jets too much for that, even though that stupid-ass late hit out of bounds to Geno Smith is the reason why they even had that field goal. But that's just the Tampa Bay Buccaneers being the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But they got a Super Bowl ring. Fuck. Kansas City over Jacksonville. This was probably one of the worst performances I've ever seen. Now, granted, Kansas City has 6, I think it's like 5 or 6 Pro Bowlers on defense, so that's nothing to sneeze at. So it's not too surprising that they just held Jacksonville to 2 points. I guess it's more surprising that Jacksonville even scored it all from this. Alex Smith did his thing. I think Alex Smith is actually a very good quarterback to work under Andy Reid in the style of game he calls. So, I mean, I don't know. I might have underestimated KC this year, but big test for KC this week that I'll get into in a second. Seattle beating the Carolina Panthers. Very impressive 12-point output from the Seattle Seahawks. Wow. I'm just so fucking impressed. I can't believe I underestimated this team. This team is fucking stunning. 12 fucking points they put up against Carolina. That's great. And it's also great that the only major play that Seattle had was that pass from Wilson to Curse. It was like 40-plus yards. If it wasn't for that play, the game would have been completely irrelevant for the Seahawks. I'm impressed. Wow, that's a big 12 spot they put up. I might have to rethink about my decision about them not being in the playoffs. This team's fucking seriously serial. I take back everything I said about them. They're fucking the real deal. 12 fucking points this week. That's fucking stunning. I'm impressed. All right, that concludes the sarcasm portion of the show. Cincinnati, I had over Chicago, and Chicago won that one. Hey, who would have thought a CFL coach and working with a team that was supposedly disheveled and all this shit, and had a solid game against a team that I thought was going to the playoffs this year. So, all right. So now let's go into the predictions for this week. I'm just going to blast through these. Starting off the week on Thursday Night Football, we have the New York Jets at New England. New England's going to win this game. It's not even going to be close. Geno Smith, welcome to Humbleville. St. Louis at Atlanta. I got Atlanta winning this game. This game might be closer than people are giving it credit for. I think St. Louis is going to put up a good fight. Carolina at Buffalo. I was very surprised with how E.J. Manuel played in this game. In fact, I feel Buffalo was the absolute better team in this. I mean, that's arguable, but not necessarily the better team always wins. When you got a guy like Tom Brady going 7 for 7 on the final drive in this game, then there's really not much you can do about that. That's just Brady being Brady right there to win the game. So, very impressive Week 1 performance. I'm giving you the nod in Week 2. Minnesota at Chicago. I like Minnesota in this one, though. I think this is going to be a really close game as well. That CFL coach seems to be doing a decent job, at least from 1 week. Washington at Green Bay. Sorry, Deadskins, but you're starting the season 0-2. I got Green Bay winning this one. Miami at Indianapolis. Congratulations, Miami. The Dolphins have a win, you little pesky mammals, you. Or fish, whatever the fuck you are. Dallas at Kansas City. Now, this is the game I said was going to be interesting to see what Kansas City is made of. Even though Dallas won that Friday night, that Sunday night game in Dallas against the Giants, it was probably one of the sloppiest wins of the week, next to that Seattle win, but that's another story. Actually, I wouldn't call the Seattle win sloppy. That was just more sad and pathetic. But anyway, Dallas just seems like a team that was really trying to find their way, and when you get 6 turnovers from the other team and you only win by 5 points, something doesn't seem right. Something doesn't seem right. When you get that many turnovers, you should annihilate a team. But you know what? They got the win. A win is a win, right? But I just would expect a team like Dallas to, stomp the shit out of the Giants a bit more than they did. So, Dallas at Kansas City. I got Kansas City winning. I don't know. I just think Reed is really knows Dallas really well from playing them in the NFC East so many years. And it's a good defensive matchup as well for them. I really think Kansas City's going to shut down Romo, get a lot of pressure on him. I do not see Romo throwing well under pressure. And even though Andy Reid isn't known so much for flowing sophisticated blitz packages, but we'll see. This is going to be one of those games where it's like, oh my God, Andy Reid blitzed 20 times in this game. He's never done that in his career. Who knows? Kansas City winning. Cleveland at Baltimore. I got an upset here. I honestly see the Browns winning this game and seeing Baltimore start out 0-2. And yet, I wouldn't be too concerned about that in Baltimore. Little worrisome, but I just see Cleveland. I just feel them as an upset this time. I don't know. I could be wrong, but sorry, Baltimore, losing your home opener. Tennessee at Houston. Houston is going to pummel the shit out of Tennessee. Houston is going to just make a statement of how San Diego had no business of even getting up on them on Monday night. Houston is just going to stomp that Tennessee ass. San Diego, Philadelphia. I told you Philadelphia is winning. Detroit at Arizona. Detroit showed that they actually might not be that bumbling, fumbling team they were last year in Week 1, and I got Detroit winning this one as well. New Orleans at Tampa Bay. New Orleans. New Orleans is coming in with a hot hand, beating the team to beat in the NFC South, so look for them to run over Tampa Bay as well. Jacksonville at Oakland in the who gives a shit game of the week. There might be 10 people in the world that even watch this game. No offense to those of you in Jacksonville or Oakland. Oakland wins. Denver at New York. The New York Gents. Look for Denver just to fucking annihilate the Gents in MetLife Stadium. San Francisco at Seattle. Oh boy, Seattle's undefeated at home, and they did put up a 12 spot. They were undefeated at home last year, and they did put up a 12 spot last week. Seattle is the real deal, but let's look for that win streak at home to end. Even though technically didn't get as far as everyone said last year because Green Bay beat Seattle at home last year in that fluke Monday night game. But anyway, San Francisco is going to whoop that Seattle ass. On the plus side, I think Seattle might outscore their first week performance. So that's something positive, right, Seattle? Pittsburgh finishing the week at Cincinnati on Monday Night Football. And the runner-up for the who gives a shit game of the week. Look for Cincinnati to win this game. Pittsburgh looked like the absolute worst Pittsburgh Steelers team that I've ever seen in my life take the field last Sunday. That team was just atrocious. The only thing that saved them is they got one touchdown at the end of the game during garbage time. They deserved to end with just 2 points on that safety, which was nothing that Pittsburgh did on that safety. It was just the kick returner on Tennessee decides to realize he wants to kneel in the end zone after he was already in the field of play, you dumbass. So that was literally the only points that I really see that Pittsburgh scored was that dumbass safety, unless you want to count that garbage time touchdown. But anyway, Cincinnati's going to win their home opener. So there's Archfiend's Week 2 Philadelphia Eagles review and predictions for the upcoming NFL Week 2 here. And I've been making way too many videos here for you guys. I'm just kidding. There's never such thing as too much. So, everyone, thank you. I'm glad to make another video here for you guys, even though I know half of you are saying, oh, no, it's a fucking sports video. I didn't want to see this. So, just, okay. Just leave your piece and go away. Anyway, have a great day, everyone. And let's go Eagles. Verizon Fios. Fuck the world. I'm sure some of you caught that and went instantly nostalgic. Have a good day, everyone.